Hi, and welcome to On a String Design on the Fly International Beadworx Colours. I'm Paula, I'm the beader behind On a String, and I'm a member of the Beadworkers Guild, and I'm a bead designer, a teacher, bead artist here in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. And I run these Facebook Live sessions generally once a month. I usually have a bead store to support me, or I come up with other concepts that I like to talk about as well. And I'd really like to thank and acknowledge Michelle from Beadworx here in Queensland in Australia, who is my bead supplier for the session today. So thanks, Michelle, so much for supporting this special session of Design on the Fly. I usually run these on a Saturday. I work full time in my other jobs, so this is a bit special for me to be doing one this evening. And I was thrilled to be asked by Beadworkers Guild to come up with something to do for International Beading Week. So here it is, my Design on the Fly session with the International Bead Week colours. Now, if you haven't seen or heard of one of these before, what I do is, and generally have a theme, it could be colour, it could be a shape, something along those lines, and I ask one of our local bead supporters or suppliers to actually provide the beads to me, and then I literally design on the go. You will get to see me make mistakes. I'll show things like how to thread needles, how to join fire line, break beads, all the things you do as a designer. And sometimes it might be that I undo something because I don't like it, and other times I'll actually have a really great concept that comes from these sessions, and they then become tutorials or other things available for people to learn from. There's a range of my videos on my YouTube channel, so if you're interested in seeing more of these, go and visit On a String at YouTube, and it's all, if you see the pink logo, that's me. All of my socials have the same pink logo on them. And there's several videos on there people can actually watch and see about design on the fly. Join in the fun with me. There's a comment section there, so please ask lots of questions, all those sort of things, and I'll do my best to answer them as we go. Hi from Kentucky and Arizona. This is fantastic to have some really great support from all over the world. So thank you everybody who's coming along today. I've actually got my tech support brother here to help me with sound. So I think he's just hopefully fixed that sound as well. And let's get started with the Design on the Fly session. So I'm going to flip over to my work screen so you get to see what I'm actually doing. Hi Gina, hi Alex, hi Debbie, nice to see everybody here. So what I've got here is a package in pink. Michelle's wrapped it in my favourite colour, which is fantastic. And we're going to unbox this particular package now and see exactly what it is that she's provided. I have no idea, and that's part of the fun with these sessions, is that they are literally me designing as we go. Okay, now one of the things that we will be able to do is I've put a bit of a pinned comment there, and Michelle has some kits available for whatever is in this package. So if you're interested in seeing this and you like what gets created today, you'll be able to purchase one of those kits from Michelle's site, and there is a link there in the pinned comments for people to actually see. Okay, so are we ready? Ready for me to actually unbox and see this design on the fly and see exactly what's in the beads? Let's go. All right, I've got my pink package just here. All I suggested to Michelle was, could she provide some beads to me in the colours of International Bead Week? Now, there are 12 colours in International Bead Week. And Michelle has, she's provided a list too, which is fantastic. So we get to see some of these as well. Hey, Lorraine. Hey, Glenda. Okay, there's a list there. I'll look at that in a moment. So let's get into the fun stuff, the unboxing of what's actually in my Design on the Fly pack. Okay, there's a couple of black tassels, which is really cool because you think of all of the colours that are within the International Bead Week rainbow. Black is a really perfect contrast colour to go with that. Hey, Cheryl, nice to see you here too. Okay, awesome white, terrific. Some Puca 2-hole Amos beads as well, and that's that chalk luster white. So again, really good contrast colour to go with the rainbow colours.
There are all the rainbows, so we'll have a look at some of these. Oh, one of them has had a little explosion in the package, but that's fine. I can pick those up and sort that out. There's also some of the Lipsi beads. So they're a newer style of the 2-hole beads. These ones have got the chalk white AB coating on them as well. I've already got a bit of an idea how to use these. I've been playing around with these beads with something else, so we'll see how they go. There's some in black as well. So some Lipsi beads in black, in the jet black. Terrific. And some little cabs. So there's the crystal AB black cabs as well. And what size are they? 14 mil. Absolutely perfect size for earrings. I love that 14 mil cab for using in earrings. Okay, now let's look at the colours that are in the International Bead Week. Okay, so we've got yellow. So yellow opaque luster, and it's number 422. There's a periwinkle light, which is sort of a pale blue colour. There's Duracoat opaque dyed grass. So I'm assuming that's dyed grass green. Hey, Penny, nice to see you here. Duracoat neon green. This is possibly one of my favourite colours. I love this neon green colour. It's gorgeous. Opaque cobalt, so a sort of dark bluey colour as well. Opaque dyed yellow. One of my previous design on the flyers was all about the colour yellow, one of the hardest ones I've ever done. But I made 3 things out of yellow. Opaque vermilion red. Looks a bit more orange to me, but that's what it's called. There's an opaque red as well. There is an opaque light blue, an opaque pink, an opaque dyed pale purple, an opaque dyed seafoam. So that is just amazing. Oh, then, and look, there's also some Piros beads as well, which is another little 2-hole bead that has sort of got a pointy edge on it. So I haven't used those before, so that'll be interesting to see what I do with them. And then you can see I've got some green beads all over my board. So let's just pull these out of there. Okay, and I'll put those away. All right, so given that there's 12 colours here, and what I want to try and do is incorporate each of the 12 colours in a piece, in some sort of design. And realistically, with having these cabs here, these are perfect for actually doing some sort of beading around. Potentially it's a Lipsi bead that may go around the edge, surrounded by the different 12 colours. If I can get 12 around an edge, that would work perfectly. If not, I'll have to think about how to do maybe 1 layer or then 2 layers. Good morning from Scotland. Hey, Violetta, nice to see you here as well. This truly is an International Beading Week extravaganza of design on the fly. So I really appreciate people who've come along to see this as well. Okay, so these Lipsi beads, I'm not sure if other people have seen or used these before, but they're another 2-hole bead. So their size is, let's just grab my ruler. The size there is, they are about 5 mil by 2.5, 3 mil. So they're not a huge bead. They're a nice size and shape, and they're an oval bead that is the same shape all the way around. So it's not domed or anything like that. So a nice flat bead. And whether 12 will fit around here, they might if I actually mount it on some stiff stuff potentially. That might work. Because what I'm sort of envisaging is either a single pendant that has a tassel that goes around the bottom of it, and then I could repeat that sort of theme of 12 colours in a bit of a bridge around the tassel. I could do something like that. The Lipsies are, there you go. Michelle's given us the exact size. Fantastic. 7 mil by 4 mil. So maybe my ruler was out, but they're 7 by 4. Thank you, Michelle. And Michelle's obviously online too to answer any questions that people may have as well. So if you have any questions about the colours or beads, etc., or want to know more about Michelle's shop, by all means, pop questions in here as well, and she can help answer those too. So as I suggested, potentially I could do, a cab then and a pendant that sort of went around with the 12 colours all the way around, and do some sort of edge with these Lipsi beads and then do a colour around that. And I played around a couple of weeks ago with the Lipsi beads. This is before I knew these were going to be in this kit. And I made these sort of two pieces using the Lipsi beads on around the edge. Now that cab that I've got in the center of there is bigger than that one. And that's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 around it. So not 12. And then I've got a bigger one which had the 25 mil. So neither of those sizes actually work, but potentially the concept works where I could then just add the color of beads around the edge. So I'll have a bit of a think about what that might look like. But Lipsi beads obviously come in a range of different colors too. They're a Puca bead, so there's always loads of colors of them. The other thing I could then add in potentially would be some sort of, sun ray or something with the Amos bead. So they obviously have a 2-hole bead as well, and potentially do some sort of colour formation around the edge of those. So I'm going to have a bit of a think about that. So what I might do first is actually think about how I'm going to capture the coloured beads. Now I'm going to do a contrast metallic bead with these as well because they need some sort of contrast. I'm going to use a silver. So this is a Miyuki silver bead, and it's my very expensive silver plated one. So I will use it because it's a special project and a special night. And what I'm going to do is just thread some fire lines. So I always start, whenever I start any beading project, I always start with about 1.5 meters of thread. And I'm more than happy to shorten that or join in new thread if I need to. And as always, I will start with a size 10 needle. I tend to find this size 10 suits my beading style. I don't break it anywhere near as easily as I do some of the other beads, needle sizes. So always for me, a size 10 needle is a perfect start. And what I want to do is try and form some sort of frame that fits around this cab. So potentially if I just alternate one Lipsi bead and one size 11 bead to start with, and let's see what that actually entails. And if I find that the cab is not quite big enough, I may just add and get another cab out of my stash over there and use that, and then come back to these 14 mil cabs as earring bases. And that's possibly what I'm going to do, but let's just keep adding some of those on. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I really want to have 12 so that I can incorporate the 12 colours of International Beading Week in this design. And if you've seen me do one of these sessions before, you'll know that, sometimes I'll start a design and I don't like it, and then I will undo it and start again. So let's hope that doesn't happen with this one, but hopefully it all works out fine. So that's 11, so one more, 12. And I really want to have 12 that potentially join in a circle like that, and then this could get mounted in the middle is sort of what I'm thinking. I need one more silver, and then I'm just going to go through all of those beads again so that forms that nice ring. And then I'll potentially will just do a knot somewhere on a thread bridge here just to firm that knot up. Now, because these are a 2-hole bead, I get the opportunity to go through the bottom hole of all of these again, and then use that top hole to do some sort of next addition of bead. And that's potentially where I think the Amos beads may just pop right in the little gap that's there, is what I think. But we will know when I start to bead a little bit more. So keep going all the way around. Now, as I said, Michelle has created some kits for these particular bead packs. So if you're really interested in seeing these, I think she has a black kit and a white kit. So pop onto the link there in the comments if you're interested, and you can grab one of these very special kits yourself. Okay, so there's a lovely circle. And look, that fits just nicely there. I need to think about whether I need a bigger bead in there or not, but that's okay. We'll just leave that for the moment. And then I've got these lovely Amos beads. So I'm going to bring my needle out of one of the top holes here. And then again, with a 2-hole bead, just pop one of those in between in that second hole, like that. just like that. And what this is going to do is give me a really great foundation to do some decoration around each of the little Amos bead peaks. And, you know, in its own right, this could be just a singular earring without, or one earring, one of a pair, without a central cab in it as well. So, you know, it might be just a really nice beaded ring that is demonstrative of International Bead Week with the colours. Add the ring onto the tassel. So it really is designing as I go. I don't really know what this is going to end up looking like until I keep beading away. So I've got the black and white. Now, for those who know me well too, they know black and white is one of my favourite colour combos to work with. And it's going to be really bright and colourful to have added into it all of the colours of International Bead Week as well. And I can sort of envisage where I think this piece will end up, but it is design on the fly. So, have other people been doing sessions with International Bead Week? Tell us about it in the comments, some of the things that you might have been doing. I haven't been to a session yet. I am hoping to get to the Australia session tomorrow evening and the farewell session. So that's my plans, but I know other activities have all been held already in International Beading Week. So what other things have people potentially done as part of the sessions? Really, really great to see so much activity going on. Okay, so now I've got all of my white all the way around. Yes, Penny, I'm creating one for us. Go Pies. I've got all of my black and white all together all the way around. I've now got the top hole that's sitting there from the Arcos bead and the Amos bead, sorry, and that's where I can see the colours all actually happening. So if I pull up an International Bead Week logo, and I've got one right here on this list that Michelle has provided, I'm going to start with the yellow and then do each of the colours as they're represented in that logo. And if you've not watched me do one of these before, you'll soon work out I'm one of the messiest beaders going around. So it's starting off neat at the moment, but it won't take long until it doesn't look neat. It will look like a kaleidoscope rainbow very shortly. I'm just going to do a little knot there on that thread bridge, partly just to sort of secure that second row of beading. Make it a little bit stiffer as I start to add these other beads around. So just a couple of little knots there on that thread bridge. It's slightly loose, but it will become less loose as I add more beads in, but just to sort of tighten that a little bit right now. Okay, now I'm going to bring my needle out of, where do I want to do? Okay, I'm going to go up the side first. So I think maybe 3 beads up the side there of the Amos bead. 3, is that going to work? No, 3 is too many. I think just 2 beads. So they're coming out of the top bead there. No, I need something else in between. So I need something that's going to sit here. So maybe a size 8 bead will sit there so that the size 11s, if they're coming out of the hole here and going up to there, they sort of jam a little bit. So I'm going to just put something that sits on top of that black Lipsi bead. And I think maybe a size 8, and I'll just have to grab one out. A size 8 potentially in the silver is what I'm thinking might work. So I'll just grab one of my silver size 8s. Because I want to make sure, I think what I'm trying to do, if I put that bead that way, let me think about what I'm going to do here. So I might just try 3 to start with, and if I go through the Amos bead, what I want to do is end up that size 8 bead is where I'd bring the colour out of potentially, but that's not going to sit exactly how I want it to sit. So I want it to sit that way. So I need to then potentially add my maybe 2 colour yellow. If I want it to sit like that, add my 2 yellow that way. Let's see what happens when I do that. Yep, it's probably what I want to try and do. Okay, so another 2 yellow around that side and an 8. And we'll see what happens when I go there. One of that, no, that's not working either. Okay, let's undo that bit and try that again. So literally designing as I go. And this is part of being a designer, is a bit of trial and error. When you're working with, a new concept, it's how do I actually make something work, which is what I'm trying to do. How do I make this work how I want it to work? And it's not just yet, but it will shortly. Now, I think what I might need is a bigger bead that sits in between here, like that. Now, if I had a bigger bead there, let's try a 11, 8 and an 11. And if they go in between nicely there, yeah, that might work. Okay, so 11, 8 and 11. Like that. Very soon I will cut that tail thread off. Now, I don't like that either. What I'm going to grab out is a size 4. Oh, hi, Laurelie. Nice to see you here for your very first event for International Bead Week. Thanks for coming along to the Design on the Fly session. These are really fun, and I hope you enjoy this as your first International Bead Week event. Okay, now I need a 4mm. I think I need a 4mm bead, and I'm trying to find my white ones or black ones or white ones. Michelle, I need some more black or white 4mm beads. I know I've got some black ones here, so they'll do. Okay, so I've just grabbed out a 4mm because I think that's going to fit nicer in that little gap there as well. Darlene, nice to see you here as well. Welcome to your first International Bead Week event. Hi, Meg, nice to see you here too. And Darlene, you've got a full schedule ahead of you with Saturday. It's Saturday, Sunday and Thursday. It's great to have so many events and the promotion of beading. And that's one of the reasons I started doing these sessions a couple of years ago was, partly COVID and connecting with people, but just to be able to continue to share beading as I love it and I want other people to love it too. Okay, now my needle's just come unthread, so I'll just rethread that. So I think maybe the size 8, this 4mm in between there is going to fit in really nicely. So just thread the needle again. Okay. So a 4mm, and this is just a black 4mm round. Yep, look at that. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to pop those all the way around my piece here. So often with beading, it's, what is the right size of the bead that you need to put into a gap? And I've been beading a long time, so as you can imagine, my stash of beads is fairly extensive, and I'm sure a lot of you understand and appreciate that as well. But it means then that when I'm designing something, I can adapt it to suit by grabbing out, something that's either a better size or a better color. So if anyone tells you you've got too many beads, you never do have, because you always need them to be able to do this type of thing with. And yep, that's fitting together really nicely. The tail is going to annoy me shortly, but that's okay. I will cut that off. I mean, it is secure. It's more, sometimes the tail's really good just to continue to hang on to help build your tension in your piece as well. And I'll just keep popping those together. Now, as this piece is forming this sort of circular shape, it's a little bit sort of raised here, which is okay. I'm okay with that, because that may end up being somewhere where that cab could actually sit in the middle as well. So just keep building and seeing what happens as we add more and more beads to the piece. I've got 2 more gaps there for the 4mm to go into. And they're slightly just helping to dome that piece. It's not perfectly flat anymore, but I'm okay with that too, because I will take advantage of that doming and use that to capture the cab as well. Now I'm going to get rid of that tail right now, because that really has caught a few times on things. Okay, so how's that going to work? We'll see. Now I've got an easier gap to potentially pop the colours around. So I think maybe 5 or 6 beads are going to go over the top of the Amos like that. You can see there I've just done the yellow. Absolutely, Lorraine. You can never have too many beads. You always need a different size or colour. So you can see there the yellow has popped really nicely over the top of that Amos bead. And then if I have a look at what the next colour is, it is orangey yellow. So this is called the dyed yellow colour. Now, I could be really good and get out one of those, board things that's got lots of gaps to put beads and stuff on, but I'm too excited, so I haven't grabbed that out. So 6 beads is going to go over the top of the white Amos like that. Now, what are they starting to do? The beads are starting to tell me where they want to go, and it's not exactly where I want them to be, but that's okay. We'll just maneuver them into place. So it might be 7, might be the number, not 6, because see how it's just sort of popping off the edge there? So let's just try 7 beads. Literally designing as we go. So the bead counts and things are all adaptable as I'm creating this design. Not real happy with how that's not flat just yet, or not domed. It's neither. It's a bit wavy. That might be okay. It could be okay, but it could be problematic. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's try 7 this time and see if 7 is a better fit. So I'm just using that the black 4mm beads there as the anchor. So going through those every time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the orange colour, and then go through the black bead again like that. Yep. The next colour is the orange, the real orange. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, popping that through that 4mm black bead. Now, I like the concept. I really like the way this is going to start to look, but I'm not happy with the bubbliness of it. It's flat on, if I sort of flatten one side, it works pretty well, but at the other side it doesn't. So I'm thinking now that my 4mm are too big and I probably need something a little bit smaller. So back to the drawing board whilst I whip those 4mm out. Literally, as I've said before, I'm designing as we go. So you get to see the thought process of creating a design. And often what happens is once I've done something like this, they become really great tutorials, and you'll find some of these tutorials on things like my Etsy store, or the pattern that I've contributed to International Bead Week this year is one of my previous design on the fly sessions. So the Paradise Daisy earrings is available in the free files area, and that's something that I created from one of these sessions earlier this year. So that's the beauty of doing this, is it gets me to really think about how creative I want to be and come up with new concepts. Okay, I'm just trying to push that out so it's flat, because it really is not cooperating now. Okay. It's that looseness just there that's not working for me. I'm going to pull that out. Now remember, I was so cautious and knotting this a little bit earlier on. That's okay. I'll just work my way back to that. I really want that to sit nice and flat. Try again. Okay, so if it's not a 4mm that I'm going to pop in the middle, maybe a 3. I think you're right. Meg suggested a 3. Or Michelle suggested a 3. So let's try a 3mm and see if that works. And maybe a fire polish, a 3mm fire polish, because it's a little bit wider than a 3mm pearl or round. Let's just see if I've got a black or a white one. I should have. I've got some black bicones as well. Maybe. Oh, I've got some really nice little clear crystals, round crystals. Maybe they'll work. Yeah, that might work. Okay, now let's try that. Now my problem, I think, might be that I've picked a fire line thread. So let's hope that's not too ugly with a clear crystal. That's not too bad. They're like a little rondelle thing, so they're slightly squat is the right word for them. And that's just going to sit there like that. Okay. Okay, let's just keep going. So this is, again, part of the process is just thinking about what beads fit, maneuvering around, getting the beads to go where I want them to go, them not telling me what they want to do, and coming up with a design that is pleasing, that is secure, fits together well, that is, in my case, I like to think about things that are teachable or able for people to learn from too. So that's part of my design process, is thinking, how can I, create these for people to learn from as well. Now that's really interesting. I'm pulling that a bit tighter, and what's happening is the Lipsies are now creating a nice little cab ledge there. Oh, I'm happy with that. They're actually forming a better circle shape for me to put a cab in the center. And it, as I said, it may not be that the 14mm ones. It could be something else. But what's happened is it's actually sort of flipped on the edges a little bit, which is a really cool development. So when I pull that tight, you can see how the Lipsies, if I hold that on the edge, see how they're just sort of standing up a little bit? It's not flat now. It's actually come up. Look at that. That's really cool now, the way that the Lipsies and the crystals are sort of sitting side by side, I suppose. The crystal's on top of the Lipsie just there. And it's created a nice little nest there. Just for that cab to be able to sit in. Okay, happy with that now. All right, so let's go back to this concept I had about putting the colours around each of these shapes. So if I pull that tight now and make the Lipsies stand up, that might work better. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and go all the way through the crystal. And there's my beads like that. Okay. The next colour was the opaque dyed yellow colour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then through the crystal. Now, to make those International Bead Week colours really pop, I may end up doing a second row around them as well. So they sort of become a bit of a double layer too, but I'll think about that. So 7 of the next orange. So what's the next colour that I need to think about in the logo? is the red sort of colour. Look at that. Oh, Laurelie, I've done that before too, where I've had to, think I've beaded something all day and it's going to be a great design, and then nah, it hasn't worked. So I do love to share this process though, so people can see, sometimes how long it takes for designs to actually happen. It's not always really quick and easy. Sometimes it is, but not always. Okay, I've got 4 colours on there now. It's looking really good. The next colour is the pink colour. For those who know me well, this is my favourite colour. My bead room is all completely pink, all been painted in pink colours. My logo, everything I do has a pink element to it. I have to stretch myself to use other colours at times, particularly when I'm creating samples and things for classes. I really have to stretch my colour palette to bring in other colours. Okay, so the Lipsies are standing really nicely on edge. The colours are all going around the Amos beads. Okay, the next one is the purple colour. You see my bead board's getting messier and messier as I go. Okay, purple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In fact, my next design on the fly session is on, it's in August on a Saturday sometime. Off the top of my head, I'll have to think about when that is. But my next one is actually about the colour purple. So it will be all purple beads that I'll be using, and then I will have to literally come up with designs that use purple. So it's one of my colours that I use the least of. So that's always a challenge for me, to use something that I use the least of and think about what sort of contrast and complementary colours can go with something like purple. So look out for that coming soon. With all of these Design on the Fly sessions, they are available on my YouTube channel as well if you're interested in catching up on any of those. And generally, they live on Facebook as well, but YouTube, they are there too, so you can always get to watch them on YouTube. So I'm keeping on going with my next row of colours around the edge. So 7. So this is a blue, the cobalt blue colour. And I've got 4 to go, which is the green, what am I missing? And the pale blue. There you go. So there's the next blue colour. I might have messed one of these up, but that's okay. It still looks really good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And do that over that colour there. The next one is the aqua sort of colour. That's exactly what I have, Lorraine, is a creative board, creative messy board. It's always messy. I'm always thinking ahead, what have I got to do next? What have I got to do next? So, I don't like to take the time to pack up or clean up until I absolutely have to. Okay, so the dark green colour is next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then finally the lime colour is the last one. Now these little outer edges are not perfect yet. I'll have to do some work to get them to sit nicer and sit flatter. And potentially I might move on to try and do something with the centre. So I've got a bit of stability then in how the centre sits. So there's the 7 in the lime green. But you can see the concept around having all of the colours around the outer edge, the Lipsies potentially standing up like that. Okay, so let's get out a cab that's perhaps a bit bigger. So I've got some over here. literally not what I prepared earlier, but I do have a box of some of these cabs. So this is my sort of cab box with all different colours in it. Now, I obviously want a colour that is not one of the 12 colours, but is still complementary and a bigger one than the black. I've got a grey there. Ugh, I don't like the grey one in it. I have a cute one with a duck. What do you reckon about the duck? That looks really cool, actually. Could be an International Bead Week duck. What do we think, people, of the duck in the middle? I quite like that. I've also got one that's a face as well. The face is a bit bigger though, so that one's not really going to work. So the duck might be the right size. So it just goes to show you could use any cab to go in the centre of something like that. I've got a giraffe as well. Giraffe. And I've also got a little, Russian babushka doll too. That's cute as well. But I think I like the duck. So the duck is, let's see what size it actually is. The duck is, an 18, is it 18 mil, 20 mil? 20 mil across, that cab. So that's what actually fits in that hole. All right, let's do the duck. The duck's what fitted really nicely in there. I'll put the giraffe and the little face away. And the duck's going to sit really nicely in the middle. So there you go. You could use any sort of cab to fit in the middle of your piece like this. So these are just one of those little glass stone one that's got a picture attached at the bottom of it. No, two ducks or a zoo. Absolutely, it is a bit of a zoo here at times. But the duck, look at him, little ducky looks really cute in there. All right, now I've got to work out how I'm going to attach that. So if I was actually really thinking about designing and not, trying to utilize all the colors at once, I would probably attach that cab more securely at the start, but I'm doing this a little bit backwards, but that's okay. It'll end up okay. So the duck is going to fit like something like that. So what I want to try and do is secure here through those Lipsi beads. So I'm just going to move my needle to come out of one of those Lipsi beads. The bottom hole, I think, is where I want to be coming out of. No, top hole. So I'm going to try and capture that cab now by netting over the back of the duck cab. I can fix up all of the other sections later. So if I lay that flat on my board like that, I can see how I've sort of got these gaps here to do some net over. So let's go back to my silver beads that I had from before. Okay, I'm just going to pick up 5, I think, size 11 beads, 5, because what I want to do is create a little net there. So pick up 5 beads, and then I'm going to go through the next Lipsi hole like that. I'm just building that little nest to sit the duck cab in. So 5, and then go through the next Lipsi hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think the duck's the winner. Now this looks messy right at the moment, but it will, these little nets that I'm creating by creating a 5 bead sort of picot through those Lipsi beads will give me a central bead to actually draw a circle together by going through all the central beads of these 5 points. So the things I've added to this today that have been the cab, some silver beads in a size 11, and some little 3mm crystal rondelles. So never knowing what I'm going to be making, sort of necessitates me to, add different beads from time to time and try and utilize as much of what Michelle has kindly provided for me for this design on the fly. So 12 colors from International Bead Week. I'm using the Amos beads and the black Lipsi beads, and potentially creating a sort of a focal piece that could be a pendant or a brooch in the colors of International Bead Week. And then I'm going to utilize, I think, the other black 14 mils to make some sort of earring, and I think I know what I'm going to do with those as well already. So that might be a cubic right angle weave or a right angle weave surround around each of those in the 12 colors, or incorporating the 12 colors. Okay, nearly at the end here. So I'm just carefully going through that sort of top hole of the Lipsi bead and adding on 5 of the silver size 11s. And then I'm going to sit my cab right back in the middle and see what happens when I pull the all together in a bit of a ring. So what I'm going to do is come back through the silver beads and come up through the central size 11 bead just here. One, two, three, like that. Pop that there. Now, I'm now just going to go through all those central size 11s. So I'm not adding a bead in the middle. I don't think I'm going to need it. I might, but I don't think I will. So if I just keep adding one thread through the center bead each time, what that does is it starts to flatten those little nets out so that they can become a really nice cab holder. Now, sometimes you might need to add a bead in between these little net pickups, and I still might. I don't know yet until I get to the end whether I'll have to or not, but we'll just keep pulling those through. A little bit tangled. So you can see how I've started to flatten out and create a nest now to sit that cab in. Like that. Yeah, I think I need a bead in between each of those because it's a bit gappy. See, I've got the too much gap for that thread. Okay, let's just pull that back again. Doesn't take too long to just fix that little bit there. And look, potentially I could put in a coloured bead that matches each of the peaks around the outside. So let's do that and repeat the colours of the International Bead Week on the back of this little cab nest. Sorry, I'm just rethreading my needle again because I've just undone that. Okay, so the first colour I've got there is green, a dark green. So I'll just pop one dark green one like that. An aqua, a light blue. Yep, is that right? Oh, I went through too many there. A light blue, a dark blue, other blue, purple, pink, a red, orange, other yellowy orange, not very technical, but yellow, lime. I should be back at the start. Okay, so now I've got my 12 colours repeated around as well, which is cool. Let's push all those over to the other side. Okay, that's better. So you can, when I just sort of draw that tight, what it does is create a really nice little well that this little duck can fit in. So it's a really cool little well there that's at the back. What I'm going to do is just go through all of those beads once more, just to secure that even further. So that will start to draw those little silver nets straighter and capture that. I'm really flattening that out now so that it's a nice circle for the duck cab to sit in. Just by going through them all once more, it's just created a bit more structure to this piece. And as I said earlier, you know, potentially if I was doing this from the very start, I would do this part first before I did the outer edges, but it is what it is. Okay, so my duck now has a nice little nest to sit in, which is really cool. He's got somewhere to sit, and now I just need to make that sit over the edge there as well. Okay, so I've got my outer edges, and I think I will do another row of outer edge colour beads as well, but I need to now secure the Lipsies to be standing up so that I can capture that little duck even further. All right, I'm going to pull my needle to come out through the top somehow, through the front. So I'll just push the needle to come out. Oh, there you go. I'm coming out of a size 11 bead. So that's one of the very first beads that I added. And you can do the same sort of thing in terms of a net in front of the Lipsy beads. So it could be some sort of little net that sits in front. It could be the size 8 bead. It's just something that's got to sit over that edge. So let's just try, or maybe I'll do the same colours. Okay, so if I do maybe 3 of the green there. So I know I don't want them out of the size 11. I want them to come out of, I want them to be out of the Lipsy so that they're in front of the size 11, and so that they're then matching around the edge bead. Okay. All right, so the first one is a yellow. I'm just going to try 2 yellow beads and go through the Lipsy bead. Okay, that's just going to sit there. Okay, I'll try that yellow. So the next is the sort of dyed orange, and I'm going through the Lipsy and just popping those 2 beads, and they're sitting on top of the silver like that. Okay, 2 orange. Now my cab is nowhere near secure. He's only just sitting there in the little nest. So this whole process is about how to make the cab sit more securely. So the more I add on those beads, the more structure that's building around that little cab nest. And now I'm repeating the colours. So that's looking really cool now with the same colours. What do we think, people? You stuck with me for this so far? What do you reckon? Looks pretty good. Literally designing these as we go. Like that. Now I know when I've had to do something like this before, I've had to do like some sort of running thread all the way around to try and hold those in place. So that could be part of what has to happen here as well. and it helps those little edge beads sort of all stay flat in place. The blue, the Lipsies are all now standing tall. I've got the little edges all the way around and the two colours. And the duck is slowly getting captured in the nest. Looks pretty cute, I think, too, on line. There's another line. Okay, so I've now got my 12 colours all the way around on top of the silver bead in between the black. So that sort of repeated that all the way around. And I'm going to add a new thread shortly because I'm running a little bit short with thread. And what I want to do is just run a thread all the way around those edge beads so that they stay flat. I'm still going to have to do something here just to hold that in place even further. But because I've just popped these two beads now on top of the silver, what that's done is sort of push the silver beads forward, which is great because they then will be something that I want to try and push something in front of the Lipsy to hold that in place like that. Okay, let's add some more thread on. Now, I love using fire line for adding thread onto a piece. And when I join my fire line, I do the old melt and join method, but I tend to use this method when I do them. So I'm actually just going to just cut off a bit of that thread because it's a bit long. So I don't mind if I've got a really short tail thread there to join. So I've got a really short tail thread, but I like that because it's close to the beadwork. What I do then is I just tie a loop in my new thread and I put that over the top of the tail that I've just left there. And then I just draw those two together. So some people do an overhand knot and all that sort of stuff, but I like using this method because I can get really close to the beadwork. I then just like to do a nice clean haircut of those two edges. So I've got a nice clean cut there. Then I get my handy cigarette lighter and I just melt gently the two ends of the fire line there and then just pull those together and create the knot and then just run my finger and forefinger and thumb over the knot so that it's rounded. Now, because I've done that close to the beadwork, I'm not necessarily dragging a knot all the way through. It does make it a bit easier to get much closer, so I like that method particularly for that reason. And I'm then not having to pull a knot lots of the ways through my beadwork. Now, I think I probably need to do a bit more of the colour then again in the front. So either a colour or the silver. So my problem with doing a colour is that the colour will be opposite the line of where the other colours are. So I probably want to do maybe the silver, I think, in front. So if I just pick up 3 silvers and put them in front of the Lipsy like that, and maybe I might only do it every second one. Maybe. The other way you can actually this is how I could do it. Because if I come back up through that one just added like that, the last one added, what that does is sort of turn that capture on its side a little bit. Okay, I'll see whether this works. 1, 2, 3. Go through the silver. And then if I come back up through the last silver added, it flips those beads so that they're so you can see there the holes are coming out. See the holes are facing this way. So I could potentially then add the colour of the International Beadworx colours there. So let's try that. So I pick up 3 beads, 1, 2, 3, go through the silver bead, and then come back up through the last bead added in that. And it just makes a bit more of a open loop here. It's still holding the duck in place, which is good, but it's also giving me a hole that I can put one of these other coloured beads out of a little bit later. So again, 1, 2, 3, come back up through the last bead added. So 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, so start to get a nice firm hold of the cab inside the little nest, and just using those silver beads as the anchors to create that. Around 1, 2, 3. 12 colours is an awful lot for me to use in a project. Not something I'm really known for, is not using lots and lots and lots of colours, but it's good to have a challenge. Now, as I said earlier, and in the pinned comments, there is the link to where you can grab these beads if you're interested in these from Michelle. So you will get the same beads. You can choose a black or a white kit. So you could have all white or all black to go with yours. I've just got a little knot here that I need to undo. And Michelle's also got a special on for anybody who's interested in purchasing beads. You can use code either on a string 10 and get 10% off for orders over $50, or on a string 15 and get 15% off for orders over $150. And that excludes this particular kit, but Michelle has the biggest range of beads known to man. So there's always going to be something there. And that's an exclusive code for people who are viewers of this particular Facebook Live. So if you're interested, by all means, go and do some shopping at Beadworx, Michelle's shop here in Australia, in the Gold Coast in Queensland. And choose yourself some beads and a cab potentially to create your very own, maybe a duck pendant or something else like that. Michelle's got lots of different cabs, either with faces potentially on them or pictures, or lots of plain ones in the Puca range as well. I know I've got quite a few of those, so there's definitely lots of them. And you can muck around with these sorts of beads and create something like this as well. So I'm nearly at the end here. So I've been adding 3 beads on every time, but when I come to the last one, I will only add 2 because I've already got the joining bead there from the very first section that I added. And what I've got now is my duck is firmly in place. He's not really going to go anywhere. I've got the back section where I created the little nets, and now I've got this sort of front section that has got the edge over the top of the cab. And I really want to then go out and finish off some of the frills around the other side. So as I said, I'm only picking up 2 beads in the last section, and then I'm going to go through the first bead added in the first set of 3, so that one also is now standing on its edge. And what I've got there is 2 beads now in between each one, and I will now be able to add the colour as a single bead right in the middle of that little section. So I'm just coming back up through where I've just added like that. And if I go through that bead there, okay. Now, that one is the orangey colour, so let's grab an orangey coloured one, and I'll just pop one there. The next one is the bright orange, one there. So I'm just going through now the two beads, the two silver, the red, and now that's kept all of that in line with the edge piece, the two beads, and now the single coloured bead as well. And then we'll fix up that outer edge then too. Pink, so through the two, purple, through the two, and that's now going to be a really nice circle that's around that edge. Now the link in the comment is not editable, so can somebody fix that, Brian? Can you have a look at fixing that? Oh, Michelle's fixed it. Fantastic. Thank you, Michelle. That's always the way with technical stuff, is there can be an issue from time to time, but thank you for fixing that. So please make sure you click the link that Michelle has provided, or Sandy might have provided it potentially, if you want to see the link and check out your own International Bead Week kit, including all of these gorgeous 12 colours. So I'm nearly at the end here. So I've now got the 12 colours almost all the way around. I've got Amos beads, crystals, Lipsi beads, all sorts of different beads in this piece. The dark green, the lime green, the yellow. Okay, and I need one extra silver because I managed to only have one silver there instead of two. It's okay, and then go through the orange. Look at that. Got a really nice net, and because this is a glass piece, you know, there's still a bit of depth there that you can see of the duck. I now need to just fix up this outer edge here so that it's flat. And if I move them with my thumb, they like to cooperate, but I now need to run a thread all the way around the outside. Okay, so I'm going to just move my needle to come through to the back again, somehow through the beadwork. That's it, just there. And what I want to do is come out of one of these outer edges. I'm going to go all the way around and then just join them together by running a thread through that outer edge. And this, I think, will help keep them flat and around the edge of the Amos bead, like that. So it's now sitting over the top of the crystal, and running that all the way around. And it's just joining that much better, that outer edge. Now, often when I do these sessions, I don't necessarily always finish everything that I start designing on the fly. I might, you know, spend an hour or so later on doing some work to it. So once I get this to a more comfortable position that I'm a bit happier with it, then I'll put this aside and move on to something else. And I really want to do something with the 14 mil cabs and do some sort of earrings, because there's two with those. And of course I've got the tassel to think about as well, and how I could do some sort of decoration of the tassel. And I've done lots of decorative tassels in the past. They're a great tool to have in your beading kit, and I think I could do a tassel that's got all of the colours of International Bead Week around it as a decorative piece. So let's see how we go with getting a couple more things done this evening. Nearly there with this. This is looking really cute though. The duck cab, which was the 20 mil, has fitted well. I really wanted to get an outer ring that was capable of holding all 12 colours, which this does now. There's no point in only using some of them. You've got to use all of them. And with the Amos beads, the Lipsi beads and the crystals, it's created a really nice, cute little piece, little flowery duck. Through the yellow, nearly at the end. Well, I will fix that edited comment later, Michelle, or if I can get Brian to potentially come in here and edit the comment, he might be able to do that. Okay, we will sort that out. Okay. So my little edges are now a bit neater because they're all joined together. They're all fitting lovely over the top of those Amos beads. And you can see there we've now got a duck pendant brooch piece with a little circular rim that's all of the colours of International Bead Week. It's got the Amos beads, the crystals and the Lipsi beads in it. And that'll be the first one, I think, of the pieces that we've had a bit of a look at today. So I am going to push that aside and let's move on to something else. So what do you think, people? What do you like the duck? It's pretty cute, isn't it, with all of his colours? But we'll put him aside and let's move on to something else. Okay. So the other things Michelle has given me are the Lipsi beads in the chalk white, AB, and a tassel. So I'm going to do something with the tassel and the Lipsi beads and then some colours with those as well. Now, potentially around a tassel, I might only be able to fit maybe 6 of these around, which means I could do a colour at the top and the bottom. So that might be what we do. Always with these tassels, I tend to cut these strings off on them. I won't cut it off just yet, but I will cut that off and then just sort of melt that knot. But I won't do that just yet. That's what I tend to do. So I'm going to thread another needle with a bit of fire line on it to do something around this decorative, what will be a decorative tassel. Now the AB beads have AB coating on one side and a plain white on the other side. I think I'll probably use the white side, not the AB side. And if I can get 6 around, which might mean that I need something in between them to get 6, then I'll do the colour top and bottom of them. So potentially those 4mm black beads that I had out before might be what goes in between. So let's just try that. 1, 2, 3. See, lucky I didn't put these beads away before because I need them. But I think that's probably about the right count. Will be 6 of these beads. And I'll put the 4mm in between each one. And then I will do some colour beads over the top of each of these so that we can incorporate the 12 colours of the International Bead Week. Okay, the link is fixed. Thank you, Brian. He came in and sorted that out for me. 1, 2, 3. It's good having my tech support here. My brother has he's great at helping me fix these things when I'm actually doing this stuff online, and he can go in and sort that out. So thank you for doing that. Okay, so I've got my 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, all in a row, and I'm looking and eyeballing that and guessing that that's going to wrap nicely around this tassel. Let's just check that though. Oh, look at that. It's going to be perfect. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just tie that into a loop. And then I'm going to put that over the tassel. One of the reasons I love using tassels too is their fabric. So you can stitch through them as well. They're really, really good to be able to stitch over. Okay, so my little ring just fits nicely around there. It's a little bit loose, slightly loose, but that's okay. It will tighten up. Now, of course, Lipsi beads have the 2 holes, so I'm going to need to put something in the bottom hole of these as well. Or I might just run my thread through the bottom hole, and then, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to run my thread now through the bottom hole and then back through the 4mm. So what I'm actually doing is creating like a cross thread through the 4mm bead. Hard to see black on black, but if you can see just closely here where I've done the first one, there is a thread here through the bottom hole and a thread through the top hole on both sides. So it's actually then centering that 4mm bead in between the side of the Lipsi bead. So just running that thread through the bottom hole as well. Now tassels often come with a little cellophane wrapper on them as well. I probably took that off too soon. I do try and tend to leave the cellophane wrapper on as long as possible when I'm working with it so that it doesn't get caught. But if you've taken it off like I have it, you just sort of hold the tassel in your hand, the fabric, so that it doesn't get too tangled in the work. And then eventually, as I said, I'm going to cut that little thread off as well because I don't really need that, I don't think, to hang this. I might create a beaded loop to hang that off. So I'm nearly through my 6 Lipsi beads, and then I'm going to do some colour top and bottom with that. So we will do one of the colours at the top and one at the bottom. And I'm probably going to stitch down this ring around the tassel as well, because being fabric, I can actually do that really easily. So now I've gone through all of the top and bottom holes of the Lipsi bead. I've got that little band of beads now sitting around the tassel. I'm just going to cut off that tail thread. Where's my cutters gone? There they are. Just going to cut that off in a minute. And just sort of stitch that down so that it stays in place. So just sort of holding it firmly between my thumb and finger there. I'm just going to run my needle directly through the tassel. So the head of the tassel being fabric makes it really easy just to run that thread through. And what that does is just hold that little ring of beads firmly in place. Again, I'm going to use the whole of a Lipsi bead to just secure and anchor the thread like that. I'm going to cut that off now because that's getting in the way, the loop. And so now I've got this little ring a little bit more secure on my piece. Again, use the Lipsi bead or the 4mm bead just to anchor that through, and just cross through either side of that tassel to stitch down that ring. I'll go through a couple more spots. Like that. There's another sort of spot there. I probably could have got out a 3mm. That might have been a better fit, maybe, instead of the 4. But I had the 4 out on the table, so that's what I'm using. And really, it does work. Once you've sort of stitched it down. Oops, I've got a little tangle just there. I'll just undo that. And then just stitch that one down. Okay. So now I've got my little beaded ring all the way around the tassel, like that. And let's have a look then. at what the colours are going to look like. Okay, so where are the cutters from? So these cutters I use, thanks Penny for asking that. These are called boomerang cutters. They're fishing line cutters. Helena Tangling was the one who put me onto these. I bought them off eBay. They come from the States. I think they might have been $30 or something. They're fantastic though. They don't blunt. They cut for fishing, but they cut fire line particularly well. So yeah, I really like my little boomerang cutters. So look for those on eBay. And what's Alex? So yep, good idea. Wrap it in Glad wrap, and you put a peg on it. That's a good idea too, Debbie. Okay, we're full of good ideas around here. That's good to know. Just to keep, yeah, the plastic tube. It's if you can keep it in place, it's great. Okay, so I'm just going to bring my needle out through a Lipsi bead here. Where do I want to come out of? No, I'm going to come out through the 4mm. So I've got my colours here. So let's just do maybe 6 yellow beads over the top of the Lipsi like that. 6, no, 5. I'm just going to break one of these beads. 5 arches beautifully over the top of that. Okay, so the next colour is going to be green. 1, 2, 3. I need some more lime green ones. The ones that were all over the board at the start. 4, 5, and pop those through that 4mm. And you can see there that's just going to arch over the top there as well. Okay. The next colour is green, the grassy green colour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I will join these little loops like I did on the outside of the duck. I'll do something to just sort of join those loops together as well. The aquary green colour. I'm not sure if I'm doing these in the exact order that I've done before, but it's close. Then maybe the light blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the dark blue, and then the bottom colours will be all the pinky sort of colours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if I come up through the centre bead, no, I'm going to come out through the third bead added on that little loop there. And where are my crystals that I had before? Let's add some of these in. I'm just going to pop a crystal in. I'm going to go through the 3 beads on the top of the Lipsi and just pop the crystal there. And what that does is it actually brings those little arches together really nicely. Okay, pop a little crystal, go through 3 beads again. 1, 2, 3, like that. And tassels like this, they're really cool, like as a handbag charm, or you can hang them from a door, or cupboard door or something like that. So I like to cut that sort of silky loop off and make a beaded loop. I like them with a beaded loop more than a one that's from the shop basically. So yeah, I tend to always cut those off and make a beaded one to suit. So again, I've just added those little crystals, and when you look down at the top of the tassel like that, the arches are really nicely forming now over the top of the Lipsi bead. The crystals are sort of standing out there as well, and I've just gone through 3 beads every time to get that little crystal in place. Just like that. And then potentially could do some more colour. So let's think about some more colour. So maybe another row then of the colours. So another 3 limes, 1, 2, 3, and then go through the crystal. 1, 2, 3 through the green. So what that's doing is just helping to tighten that loop on the top. 1, 2, 3 through the aqua. What do you think? What do you think about this little idea of a beaded tassel in the colours? Looks pretty cool. 1, 2, 3 in the pale blue. And I'm going to repeat this on the other side with the remaining 6 colours of International Bead Week. 3 and then 3 of the yellow. And potentially I could do another row. Yeah, let's have a think about that first. So, okay, so what that's done now, it's created a really nice secure top for that tassel there. And I'm going to move my needle to come out through the 4mm there, because what I want to do is add that little crystal in between. No, so I want to do the colours first. That's right. So I'll go through a 4mm and then I'm going to do the opposite colour. Okay, so an opposite colour here might be orange. Let's do orange. 1, 2, 3. Need some more orange beads. One, two, three. Yep, that's it. Okay, I need the dyed yellowy orange. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. So again, I'm just repeating this same pattern using the 4mm beads to create these little coloured arches around the Lipsi bead, and then I will join those with the crystals again. Okay, let's do, what colour is next? Orange, maybe pink. I've sort of lost the potential flow, but that's okay. It will look okay once they're all done. Pink. Now I need some purple. What other colours have I got left? Red and maybe orange. No, I've done orange. Red. What's the last colour that I've got left? What haven't I used? Aqua, green, lime, yellow. Oh, no, I've used navy. Okay, let's do a stock take. Lime, correct. Dark green, correct. Aqua, correct. Pale blue, correct. Dark blue, correct. Aha! Periwinkle blue was the colour that I have not used. Okay, which is that colour there. Gee, that's very close to the periwinkle blue. Okay. Phew. Okay, so now I'm going to come back through the 3rd bead in that little row there. And I've added 6 there. Look at that. I've added 6, not 5. Let's just break one of those orange ones right at the very start. Gosh. Best tool for beading and all. I use it for everything. So that enabled me to just pop that bead out where I didn't need it to be. I'm just going to have to tighten it. It's a little bit loose there. Manually pull that through. There we go. Okay, so back to where I was. I'm going to come up through the 3rd orange bead there. Untangle my tassel. Hence why I probably should try and put the little plastic back on, but never mind. Okay, the crystal, and then I'm going to go through the 3rd bead. The 3 beads just here, like that. And when I pull that down, the idea is that that's just going to go underneath the Lipsi bead. Yep, just like that. Perfect. Okay, pick up a little crystal, go through 3 beads and pull that down so that it sits underneath. Again, it's a matter of me telling the beads where I want them to go, not where they want to go. Okay, come on. I'm going to pick up another little crystal, go through 3. I think this will sort itself out once I add that second row like I did in the top section. Not really cooperating just yet, but it will get there. So I've now got this sort of opposite effect with the 12 colours. Rather than going in a circular rainbow like in the logo, I've actually used them opposite one another. Okay, so to try and move that down a little bit, I'll come back through the crystal again. So this one I want to pick up 2 of the sort of yellowy orangey, or 3 of those, and go through the crystal. There we go. 3 of the pink through the crystal, so that they're coming underneath that Lipsi bead. 3 purple. 3 red. 3 of the periwinkle blue, the missing colour. And then 3 of the orange. Like that. So now I've got this double layer of beads, the top, and at the bottom I need to just wriggle those a little bit more to get them in place, but you can see the concept that I'm going for with the crystals, the 4 mils, and then the 2 colours all the way around. What do we think about that one? So my second thought that I'll do with this is actually create some sort of loop. I'm not going to do that now. I'll go back and finish that because I really want to just tidy up that little edge there as well. I'm happy with the top edge. I'm not overly thrilled with the bottom edge, and it might mean that I need to potentially maybe do 7 at the bottom and not 5, just because of the nature of the Lipsi bead. Some of them have popped in place really nicely, but a couple of others haven't. But that's the concept, is to do a tassel with the colours top and bottom. So there's a second piece. So we've got our little duck pendant, and now I've got a beaded tassel as well in the 12 colours. So one more little project I want to try and play around with is this idea of the black cabs there, and creating some sort of capture method for them. Now, one of the things that I've done in the past is used demi-round beads. I love a demi-round bead. It's one of my favourite beads to use, and I've used those to capture cabs a lot in using what I call the dog bone method. So I may actually do that, and then I could add in some colour around each of those maybe, because that might work size-wise. So I'm just going to grab out some demi-round beads in, let's go with my favourite rose gold colour. So I've got some demi-round beads there. So these are the Miyuki light copper colour. And I really like these for this method that I call dog bones. So what I'll do is I pick up one demi-round bead, and then I'm just going to pick up one of the coloured size 11 beads. And then I'm just going to go back through, and then one more demi-round. So 1, 2, 3, 3 beads like that. I'm then just going to go back through the size 11 bead, so skip over the demi-round and then come back up through the demi-round again. I really want to get this demi-round standing on its edge. Sorry, I'm just going to undo the tail thread. I want this demi-round to be standing on its edge. So this is where what I've called the dog bone method. And it creates this little dog bone tail. So you can see there I've got demi-round either side, and I've got a size 11 bead right in the middle. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is pick up the next colour bead. Now, I think I might have to put a silver bead or something in the middle because I'm not sure. I'm just going to do that with a brick stitch. I'm just going to add on one size 11 bead in the middle, and then I'm going to repeat that with the next colour. So let's do a green and then green bead, and I'm just going to brick stitch that on first. And then I'm going to come through, pick up a demi-round bead, go back through the green bead, and then pick up another demi-round and come back down through the green bead. Yeah. So now you can see I've got two sets of the demi-rounds. So let's add a silver bead in between. Sometimes when I do this method, I tend to use a size 8 bead mostly to do these, not a size 11, but I'm working with what I've got here. So to adapt that, I'm actually putting an additional size 11 in between each one of the little dog bones so that I'm going to have enough circumference to go around the black cab. I think I will have. I'm only guessing what I'm going to need here, but I think this will sort of fit around. Maybe I won't get 12 colours, we'll see. Okay, so I'll just go and add a silver one in between each one. And what happens with these demi-rounds is that they're loosey-goosey right now. Oh, sorry, I need to add a colour on first. They're a bit loose now, but what they do is create a really nice flexible arm, I suppose you could call it, for building out your capture for a cab. I really like this method because the gaps and the holes in the demi-rounds are a really nice big hole. You can add beads really easily in between the holes on these, what I call dog bones. So yeah, wait till I thread my needle again. Adding those colours each time is bringing in the 12 colours, but normally I might do something a little bit different to that. So, okay, what's the next colour? Yellow. I'm not really thinking about the colours too much in any particular order at the minute, but I'm just adding on the dog bone beads, which are the demi-rounds either side of a coloured bead, adding a silver bead in the middle just to give me some extra circumference with this little band of beads. And it looks a little bit messy just now, but trust me, it'll look really good shortly. And some of my tutorials that I have on my Etsy store use this method. So my Treble Brilliance pendant is all about using this method to capture cabs. And my Sparkly Studs tutorial is all about using this to capture rivolis if you want to create a pair of sparkly stud earrings. And it's a really nice method for adding beads and building a little nest to capture a round or a rivoli. Okay, how many have I got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colours. So yeah, I might get 12 around. We'll see. I'm putting the size 11 in between each of the colours. So, and I'm just ladder stitching the central core beads together to create a nice ring. Messy ring, but it will look good once we pull it into shape. Wonder how many colours I'll get. Any guesses? 10, 12? What have I not used? I've used aqua, pink. Okay, silver. Yep, I'll use that one. Nope, it's the periwinkle blue colour that tricked me before by hiding. But all of these colours, the 12, really great contrast with black or white. So great choice, Michelle, to give me some black and white beads in other shapes to use with the seed beads, because 12 seed bead colours on their own, who knows what I would have made with them. But yeah, it's good to have some variety with some of the other shaped beads in here as well. Haven't used that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm up to 10 colours now, so I think I've got purple to add. I know I haven't done a purple one yet because I'm out of them on my board. So let's get some purple ones out. Silver in between. So I've just kept this method of going with the demi round either side of the coloured bead and a silver bead in between. And then I'm going to join them in a ring. And I want to make sure that it's not twisted. I don't want to twist this ring at all. And I've just gone the wrong direction there, so I'll just undo that. It needs to go that direction. Okay. What colour am I missing? Navy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, one more colour, the dark blue. And come up through the coloured bead and add a demi round either side. And then a silver bead to join in the ring on the opposite side. Okay, so I've got this really ugly looking band here right now, but trust me when I say it's all going to come together really nicely. So there's my silver bead. So I've now got that one in between each one. And keeping it, flat and even. I don't want to twist it. I'm just going to come up through the silver bead. Just sort of wrap it around your finger so that it stays flat. Then I'm going to go through the very first coloured bead that I had added and go back through the silver bead like that. Now I'm just sort of guessing that that is going to be a pretty good size. Look at that, for adding that cab right in the middle. So good guessing. Okay, now remember what I said earlier about all of these lovely demi rounds with their nice big holes. What they do is join really well together to make that sort of cab nest. So I think I probably need a size 15 bead. I'm not going to use those ones because they annoy me. My size 10 needle doesn't like to go through them. So rather than persevere with that or change needles, I'll just get a different bead. So I'm going to come out through a demi round bead, and then I'm just going to add a size 15 in between each one of those. Size 15 in between each demi round that's sticking up. And what that does is just start to create this nice little flat capture area for the cabochon to sit in. Now I've used this method with Rivolis, all different sizes. Often it's the number, ironically, it works out the size of the Rivoli or the cabochon is often how many beads you need around the outside edge. So particularly when I'm using a size 8. So if I'm using something that's, say, 18 mil, I might need 18 little dog bones around the outside. I've sort of mucked that around a little bit today because I'm trying to keep to the 12 colours, and I've added the silver in between to help pad that out a little bit. But if I'd had size 8 colours, size 8 beads in all of those colours, I would have potentially just used 12 or 14 anyway and not had the silver in between. But that's okay. I'm just designing this as we go to work out that size of that little ring. And it's starting to come together really nicely. So you can see then when I pull that tight, I've got this lovely circle, and all of those demi-round beads are flaring out on the opposite side, which is where, when I lay that flat on my bead board, tail thread out of the way, and I pop that on the top there like that, then I can bring those demi-rounds up over the edge, and they actually make a really nice edge as well. So what goes really nicely in there is, say, a size 3 mil bicone, 3 mil pearl, something like that fits really well in there. So I'm just drawing that little circle tight there on the, which is the back of my piece. Bring my needle up through a demi-round bead, and then that is what's going to come over the edge. Now, Michelle's actually given me some other beads here. What's these? These Piros beads. And I wonder whether that might fit. Let's try that. See whether that fits in the middle. Now, it's black on black, so it's going to be harder to see, but I could then potentially add some other colour around there as well. So the Piros bead, again, has a hole top and bottom. I've gone through the bottom hole on that, but I think I want that to flip over so that it sits over the edge of the cab. So that's not the right way to do that. Yeah, okay, so I want to go through that hole so it fits that way. Sometimes with the 2-hole bead, you've got to work out the way you want it to finish. Yep, that's how I want it to go. Okay, so the Piros bead, I'm going through the bottom hole so that there is still a hole sitting that's going to sit on top of the cab. So if I pop that in there like that, that's going to come over the edge of the cab. Just got to get my needle in the right spot each time to come through the Piros. So yeah, they've got a right side and a wrong side because there's a sharper edge or a more defined edge on one side of them. So I'm making sure that I'm putting them in the right way so that they're going to flip and sit on top of that little cab. And I think this is going to work. And then I could put a coloured bead in between each one. There we go. Then I'll get the 12 colours of International Bead Week on the top of this. Okay, so if you've joined me a bit later, I've created a little pendant with a duck face in it. I think that one went in the wrong way. Yes, it did. I've created a decorative tassel with the 12 colours and using some Lipsi beads around the tassel. And now I'm just having a go at creating a little earring base as well. So this is using a 14 mil Rivoli, cabochon, and I'm also creating what I call my little dog bone method to capture this little cab in a little nest of demi-round beads and size 11 beads, and it's coming together. You can see that little sort of star shape. Now I pop that in there and pull them over the top, they're all going to sit right over the top of the edge of that cab. So it will work, I think. It's just a matter of making sure that I'm going the right direction through the Piros bead. And again, I went the wrong direction that time. So because of the nature of that edge, the sort of beveled edge on them, I suppose you'd call it, I've got to get them in the right way so that they sit over the top of the cab. And it's just a matter of placing it carefully each time. Yep, that's it. Okay. Again, a tail thread that's going to annoy me, but we'll fix that in shortly. So they're all facing the right way. If I lay them that way, they're all flat. Yep. And if I draw them up, they're all spiky. Perfect. So that little cab just sits there nicely in the middle of that. And then I want to do some colour in between each one. So remember, these are beads that have a top and a bottom hole again. So let's just go through one of the top holes there. Let me cut that tail off. And now I've got to remember which colours, what have I done where. Okay, so purple to start with. Purple, and then I'm going to go through the next top hole on that Piros bead. Okay, purple, navy. Now, obviously something like this you could do with, one colour. You wouldn't need to use all 12 if you didn't want to. Could use a couple of contrast colours, but you don't need to use all 12, but that's going to work really nicely. Okay, green. The other thing you can do with something like this is actually create like a stud piece at the back if you wanted to make this into a stud earring. I just went through the wrong hole there, so you may not be able to see that because of the black, but went through the bottom hole, not the top hole. So I've got to remember to go through the top hole each time so that it closes over the top of the cab. Good lesson there. Okay, green, orange. Yellow. Aqua. If you haven't seen any of these before, as I said, I have a YouTube channel where a lot of these design on the flies are actually on my YouTube channel, so you can go and sign up and subscribe and you'll know when I provide new ones on there. I do these sessions about once a month where I design on the fly or design to a theme, and they end up on YouTube at a later stage. So if you're looking for something to catch up on when you've got some downtime from International Beading Week, or looking for some other inspiration, by all means check out some of the content that I have on my YouTube on a string, and of course follow along on Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram and all of those things as well. I don't do a lot on Instagram specifically. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do tend to do most of my stuff on Facebook because I like it. And I know that's really old school, but I like Facebook, so it's what I tend to do most of my stuff on. Okay, and there's the last one of my colours added. And when I draw that tight, you can see there that that's just drawn a really nice circle around that cab with all of the colours in it. I've still got some really good holes here that I can add other things into, but I'm just going to go around through one more go with all of those beads. And these will be a really nice pair of International Bead Week earrings because they've got all the 12 colours in them. They've got the lovely contrast of the black, a little bit of rose gold, a little bit of silver with them as well. And I'm just going through all of those coloured beads and Piros beads one more time just to tighten that over the edge of the 14mm cabochon, and it's just tightening up lovely. And I've still got some really good gaps, and I mean good gaps, that's a terrible thing to say, but I've got some great areas to add more beads onto as I want to. So a really nice way to create a little stud piece like that. What do you think about that one? I'm pretty happy with that. And then I can do some more work around the outside. So I'll just do that. The more that I do that sort of top thread going around that top out inside edge there, the firmer that's becoming, and it is feeling more and more secure as I do that. It may take 3 or 4 goes around just to really fill those holes with thread, which is what that's doing every time I'm doing a thread pass through. I'm just filling the holes with thread so that they're not moving around so much. Okay, now if I come out one of these outer demi-round bead edges here, I can actually do something in here. So potentially I could do red, silver, and then the blue colour. See, I've got red and blue together. And if I go through the next demi-round there, now I could do blue, silver. Where did my silver beads go? Silver and pink. So I can see that can matches into the pink one. Now I'm going to do pink, silver, and aqua. Aqua, no, blue. Blue. Through the demi-round. Oh, good one, Paula. Blue, silver, and orangey yellow, which I need some more of. Orangey yellow through that, like that. Orangey yellow, silver, purple. So I'm just using the demi-rounds just to secure that outer edge even further. So purple, silver, navy through the demi-round, and navy, silver, aqua, aqua, silver, green, green, silver, orange, orange, silver, yellow, yellow, silver, aqua, and then aqua, silver, one silver, and red through the demi-round. Look at that. A really nice bubbly piece. That's a cool earring. It's got the colours of International Bead Week all around the outside. It's got the 14mm Rivoli cab in the centre. It's got the colours on the back as well with that demi-round capture. As I said, you can use this to do a stud or a drop earring. I'll probably make this a drop earring, not a stud, slightly too big for stud for my liking. But a really great use of the Piros beads with all of the colours of International Bead Week in it. So yeah, that's been a really good session today, making different pieces. So there's the little stud piece here. There's the beaded tassel here. And then there's the duck pendant here as well. Okay, so I thought before I sort of finish, I'll show some other pieces that I've made through my time with doing some International Beadworx stuff. So if you had a look at this particular one here, I thought I'd sort of bring out all of the different colours and some inspiration pieces that I've done over the years. So this is a Shrinkets piece, and this is a Shrinkets piece as well in the jade green. I love using Shrinkets plastic, so really great way to use different colour. There's a lime, that's the tassel earrings in the Dahlia design, which is one of my designs. So this one here with the chartreuse lime green, that's my pink and lime pop pendant that I created last year. This is orange, the use of contrast. So it's got the orange and lime and bright blue pieces with that together. Red, this is one that's got some red beads with some little warp squares there as well. And this is the plum sort of colour. That's some glass beads from Liz DeLuca that I've created those with. Some hot pink, I did some shrinkets with some hot pink shibori silk and a tassel in there as well. And then some purple. This is some lovely purple shield maiden earrings, I've called those, with bead embroidery. And then some violets. So I've used different polymer clay piece there with some violet beads as well. And what's the next one? Some navy and blue. These were some pieces I did from a design on the fly a little while ago with some Samos beads in them. This is the sparkly studs with the light blue. That uses the method that I just showed with the demi-round beads as well. And then we're back to yellow. So that's part of some of the things I've done through different colours. So thanks everybody for coming along tonight, or today for you if it's daytime where you are. It's evening here in Melbourne, Australia. I've really appreciated the opportunity to share what I do through Design on the Fly to a broader audience. So thank you so much for those who've come along for the first time, and a special thanks to those that have supported me in this venture in the past and have come along again. I really appreciate it. I also really want to thank Michelle from Beadworx for her provision of some great beads today as well, which have sparked my inspiration, and I will go on and do a little bit more work on these and finish them off. So as I said, there's the sort of the tassel there with the different colours all the way around. There's this little starburst piece, which that's really cute. And I'll sort of hold that up to the camera so you can sort of see. But yeah, really, really happy with how that's come together. And of course, the little duck pendant piece that's got his great little face in there, surrounded by all the colours of International Bead Week. So thank you again, everybody. Follow along, as I said, on YouTube, on a string on Facebook, or any of the other social channels. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.
Yes, that's better.
Okay.
You've got some colour back in your face.
Right, thank you. Okay.
And the other thing you've done, turn the autofocus bloody back on.
Right, okay. I don't know if I like that though. Hey, it's Paula from On a String. Following on from last night's Design on the Fly session, I've just got a couple of other little projects that I want to show that I continued on with after the session actually finished. So let's flip over and see what we're going to do. So you may remember, if you watched the previous video, that one of the beads that was in the kit that Michelle gave me was some Amos beads, which is a petal shaped bead, and I'm going to use the white alabaster colour here with a size 15 bead in between each of the Amos beads around the top pointy hole, just like that. And then I'm just going to tie those into a ring so it creates a flower shape. And I've picked up 6 of these beads to represent half of the 12 of the International Bead Week colours, because I want to create the colours around the edge of this. And this is just going to create a really simple little motif that can be used for an earring. So just do a couple of knots in there to make that secure. And then I'm going to bring my needle out of one of the top holes of the Amos bead like that. And then I want a size 11 bead in the contrast colour. So I'm actually going to use some gold with this. There's some size 11 gold beads. And I'm just going to pop one in between each of the flower petals like that. So 6 of those. Like that. And I'm going to bring my needle out of the first of those size 11 beads added. Now I'm going to get into the colours of International Bead Week. So starting at the top with the yellow, I'm going to pick up 3 of the yellow beads and then 3 of the lime green beads. So 1, 2, 3. So I've got 6 beads on my needle, and then I'm just going to go through the next size 11 bead like that and just create that little arch around the edge of the Amos bead. So the next colour in the wheel is the darker green. So I'm going to pick up 3 of the darker green bead, and then the next one is the aqua. So 3 of the aqua bead. So I've got those, and then I'm just going to go through the next little arch like that. Now don't worry that there's a little gap there, because we're going to fill that with a bead like next afterwards that. So now I'm just going to pick up 3 of the light blue bead, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 of the cornflower blue bead. Go through there. Now I want 3 of the navy. And then I think the next colour I'll do is the purple. So 3 of the purple, 1, 2, 3. Like that. At some point I'll just remove that tail by cutting that off. 3 of the pink and 3 of the red. Again, go through the last of the... And now I just want the orange and yellow, orange and orangey yellow. So 3 orange and then 3 of the orangey yellow colour, and again come through the first of the size 11 beads to add it just like that. So I've now got the colours all the way around that little flower motif, and what I want to pop in next is a size 8 bead in between each of those little arches, just to fill that out. So I'm going to bring my needle all the way through the first little band of colour just there. So through the 6 beads, pick up a size 8 bead, and then I'm just going to go through the next 6 colour beads like that. So you can now see that the 3 gold beads in the varying sizes form a line in between the flower petals. So again, pick up pick up a size 8 and go through all the way, and just repeat that all the way around the ring. So I've got my colours representing International Bead Week with a lovely contrast of white and gold as well. All the way through. Okay, a couple more. So I'll just make sure that it's sort of flat and sitting around the little frame there, through the 3 there, one more size 8 and up through the first 3 added there. So once I've added all those size 8s in, I've got a nice little flat surround of all of the colours. I'm just going to remove that tail thread whilst that's out of the way. And I'm literally just going to cut that off my piece. And I've now got a lovely little flower motif that I'll put a ring on to make a earring. So I'm just going to come up through one of the size 8 beads here on the edge and just do a nice little loop of 6 or 7 size 15 beads and go back through that size 8 again to create that little loop, which is perfect for hanging an earring hook over. So there's a really simple little idea to create an earring in International Bead Week colours. I hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks.